Hi everyone, my name is Louis. I'm a well-being researcher and the founder of XPWell. It's an experience sampling and ecological momentary assessment platform developed for researchers. I'm a big methodological nerd and it's been fun for me to develop the XPWell software to serve researchers around the world. Today I would like to share some of the current trends in well-being using ESM and EMA methods. It's been fun reading and compiling some of these papers published by great researchers, not me clearly. While doing so, I highlight some key technological features necessary to conduct these types of research and how XPWell has really helped with doing some of these. So let's begin. So with experience sampling and ecological momentary assessments, comes as no surprise that the first theme is on scheduling. How can we track the experiences of everyday lives? Fried and colleagues conducted research during the COVID-19 pandemic examining how 80 students experienced a variety of emotions over a 2-week period. They found decreases in anxiety and loneliness in the first few days. Interestingly, stress levels remained stable, whereas depressive symptoms increased over this period. So you can see here how important it is to track different types of variables, and in this case, different types of emotions over time, and scheduling plays a big part in that. Another important reason for scheduling is tracking experiences over treatments or interventions over time, which is an emerging trend in well-being research. Boss et al. Did a systematic review of EMA studies in psychopharmacology. This diagram shows how pre, current, and post-treatment assessments are important and what factors they play in trying to understand the effectiveness of treatments. And there's also a more deliberate effort to add ESM to longitudinal designs. This enables researchers to track well-being over long periods of time and to also sample daily experiences too. For instance, Laura Carstensen at Stanford, who's well known for aging research, incorporated a week-long measurement burst during 5th and the 10th year of their longitudinal research. They found that aging was related to greater emotional well-being, greater emotional stability, but also greater emotional complexity too. And all this was done through a measurement burst design. Another important reason for flexible scheduling is to track within-person processes over time. This is because our test of what leads to well-being is often complex and has a mediational component. So here we see Kohler and Neubauer proposing that music making is related to need fulfillment and then to higher positive affect and lower negative affect. From a research design perspective, one can even assess different variables at different times of the day to reduce participant burden. So you could have your predictor assessed in the morning, the mediator variables in the afternoon, and then the outcomes of your study in the evening, for example. And XPWell can help with all these different areas of well-being research. First of all, it's really simple to do repeated scheduling or tracking of experiences over time. And the system is designed so that you can schedule your surveys like how you schedule your meetings on any sort of calendar app like a Google Calendar. You can easily schedule surveys even for years to come with longitudinal design, so it's very easy to put in the measurement bursts where you want them to be. In the XPWell system, it is easy to create different surveys, so you can also schedule these different surveys at different times to test your within-person mediational models. In general, the XPWell system is really powerful for scheduling, and you can have all sorts of mixed schedules. Like, for instance, have a survey that can be open anytime for participants to fill in, or what we call event-triggered survey. And another survey that is timed daily for 9 a.m. And perhaps another survey that is randomized from 12 to 5 p.m. The sky is the limit here, or should I say maybe our creativity is the limit. One important aspect to the XPWell system is that notifications and schedules occur in participants' time zones. So, for example, if you schedule it at 8 a.m., it occurs at 8 a.m. in your participant's time zone. This is really important because more and more ESM and EMA researchers are trying to have samples from all over the world. And you don't want somebody to be receiving an 8 a.m. survey at 8 p.m., for instance. The other important thing that we've been working really hard on for the past 8 years is that the notification timings and schedules are all changing according to where participants are at, right? So it accounts for daylight savings, and when participants change their time zones, for instance, during traveling, the schedule stays the same for them, which is very important for certain samples like traveling nurses. Another thing that researchers have loved is the automated rolling schedule start dates. This is because when you recruit participants for ESM and EMA, and I know this, it's hard for us to really have participants start at the exact same date. So most researchers do a rolling recruitment, and they have XPWell system collect, say, 14 days of experiences whenever a participant starts their project. And this is so simple to do in XPWell. With ESM, it is important to set up reminders for high compliance and engagement rates. And XPWell allows for additional snooze or fixed reminders. In addition, when you schedule your surveys, you can automatically set the closing times easily so participants cannot backfill surveys. Now, the next theme in well-being research is ecological momentary interventions, or just interventions within ESM, where researchers seek to see whether cultivating daily practices like gratitude, mindfulness, meditation can foster greater levels of well-being. Balaskas and colleagues did a scoping review of EMIs and found that the majority of these interventions are conducted via smartphone apps, just like what XPWell delivers. In addition, it is important to utilize multimedia to create rich and engaging interventions. So for instance, providing soothing music or audio instructions for participants to follow in mindfulness interventions. Because so much of well-being and positive psychology research now relies on mobile-based ecological momentary interventions, or EMIs, my colleagues, Yeren Shim, Victoria Scotney, and I wrote a paper presenting key features of the apps to consider for mobile-based EMIs. And all these features are all incorporated in XPWell. Within EMIs, there's also a move toward just-in-time interventions. These are more context and situation-aware interventions, so depending on whether someone is stressed, then an intervention is delivered. Or when someone is studying, resources are provided. And you can read more from Nahum Shani et al., published in the Annals of Behavioral Medicine in 2018. Finally, with EMIs, it is necessary that we compare among different groups. Typically, some type of control group, whether a waitlist control or an active control, and different levels and types of treatment. As seen in the figure here from Pogrebtsova and colleagues, they examine an emotion regulation intervention versus two different types of active controls. More research is moving in this direction, and it's critical that the software we use can incorporate the different groups for experimental research. XPWell over the years has developed highly rated native iOS and Android apps, and this is really critical because it can run over a variety of different smartphones. And it allows participants to view photos and videos that researchers create for really more engaging interventions, or EMIs. Researchers can also easily create event triggers for just-in-time adaptive interventions through XPWell. So for instance, providing an additional intervention at a specific time if a participant scores high on, say, stress. And in line with just-in-time adaptive interventions, It also allows participants themselves to move the schedules based on when it works best for them. So you can actually personalize these timings of your interventions and surveys. Finally, researchers can easily create different projects with the same schedule, but different surveys for different treatment and control groups. And so this is important when we want to compare different groups of individuals and provide them different types of active controls as compared to the treatments. Another significant trend is the connection of ESM to wearable sensors. For instance, Lenais et al. Published this experience sampling paper on the relationships between sleep and well-being. And they assessed sleep onset latency with an actigraph and well-being with self-report surveys. They found different effects between the within versus between person sleep onset latency and subjective well-being, showing the importance of using ESM or EMA to examine within and between person trends. The XPWELL team has already developed different integrations with wearable sensors, like Backtrack for alcohol monitoring. We also have integrations with Fitbit to assess variables like activity level, heart rate, and breathing rate. In general, we work closely with researchers seeking to innovate ESM and EMA and build features close to our development costs. The final piece in well-being and ESM research is the importance of ensuring that your innovative platform that you're using is secure and private. This ensures that participants will more likely engage and you'll receive high-quality data. You can also protect what participants share with you. In addition, it's important to compensate participants well and do it in a secure and anonymized manner, especially when you're doing longer ESM studies. You want to ensure that participants are keeping up with the surveys, and so you can compensate them perhaps based on engagement rates. So with regard to privacy and security, XPWELL is third-party verified HIPAA and GDPR compliant. Further, researchers can easily and anonymously examine participant response rates through our XPWELL dashboard as they are collecting data. This is because all participant response data are anonymized, and we do not share any identifying information unless the researcher is able to collect them and it's proved by their IRB. Researchers can not only ping participants who show low levels of responding, but they can also compensate participants based on their participation levels. So there you have it. These are some of the recent trends in well-being and ESM research and how XPWELL has all the features that you need to help in this endeavor. If you're interested in XPWELL for your work, please contact us at sales@xpwell.com. Thank you and have a good one.